Live from the Export Beer Garden studio and brought to you, as always, by Export Ultra, the beer for here. This is the Agenda podcast for Angel Numbers, the 8th of the 8th.
The Agenda podcast, the home of sporting nonsense and claptrap. Brought to you by Export Ultra.
Man, are we ruffling feathers with this Greatest New Zealander thing?
Well, yeah, with these
Don't stop saying you. It's not me.
Look,
it's us. It's we.
No, I'm just gonna pin it on you.
It's like when you tried to pin the Ed Fanua Blake thing on me. And it was you that said it.
I said it was cowardly that they're leaving their dog behind. I didn't call him a coward. I said it was cowardly.
You said that the act was cowardly. Yeah. And then you immediately pivoted to I said it.
Well, yeah. But, yeah.
Yeah. And you're doing it again. But this is the people. This is what the people are saying. And every single matchup that we've put up so far has been met with so many comments of this should be the final. There can only be one final.
That's definitely not a final. Susie Cato, Jason Gunn is not a final.
Yeah, so if you've just caught up, if you're just catching up, Sir Ed took out the first round against Sir Ernest Rutherford. The second round is now Susie Cato versus Jason Gunn.
Yes.
People have been voting on this overnight.
Who's taking it out?
Well, this is the tough part. So here's a couple of messages from Facebook. Susie Cato for sure. Can't be the GOAT if you play second fiddle to Thingy on your own show. That's
okay.
Pretty vicious. Another one here from Tony. He's written, when Thingy was interviewed a few years ago, he said he'd rather work with Susie Cato purely because she has smaller hands than Jason Gunn.
Well, Jason Gunn came on, he piled in and said a vote for me is a vote for Thingy. So he tried to sway it.
That's right.
And did it work?
Well, apparently Thingy himself is saying no. So we've had to collate the votes, and we're voting across various different media, Facebook, Instagram, posts, polls, all sorts. On Instagram, 666 votes cast, which is very, very ominous. 58% of those were in favour of Susie Cato.
Ooh, okay.
Similarly, on the Instagram story, this came down to the wire. 51% of the votes on that were for Susie Cato.
So Susie.
But 82% of the votes on Facebook overwhelmingly in favour of Jason Gunn, declaring your winner by split decision. Jason Gunn goes through to the second round.
Wow, look, is it a platform issue here?
Yeah, it could well be.
Like,
but they would be the same era, would they not?
Yeah, they are pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for some reason,
Jason might be a bit earlier than Susie.
Maybe, yeah. And also have had a wider ranging career.
Well, this is another element to add to the Great New Zealanders in terms of people are going to get upset because of the different platforms, the different demographics on each platform.
Yeah, that is a big thing.
Yeah, so there you go. So Jason makes it through. Goodbye, Susie.
Goodbye, Susie. See you later. It's time to say goodbye.
I like we did that. Nice.
She's out of here. Jace Gunn goes through. Was doing a bit of research yesterday. Came across a Havoc and Newsboy story.
Jason's Tinny House,
yeah. Bizarre bit of footage out of context. But yeah, I don't remember Susie Cato ever having a tinny house, so I think that could have played into it. But yeah, it was neck and neck on Instagram, but just overwhelmingly in support of Jason Gunn. And I think that a large part of that on Facebook is that he's the ringleader of his own votes. He's been getting busy in the comments.
Right.
Susie Cato, I think just
and nothing. We can't prevent that, can we? We're encouraging that. If you want to lobby for your own votes, that's up to you.
I'd like to encourage it, yeah. Because I'd love for. I don't know. I was going to say John Alomu, he's dead, isn't he? But some. I'd love for some of these guys to get involved in the.
Well, we couldn't. The first round was a bit hard when we, well, Ernst and Ed were. Yeah, that would have been a bit hard for them to weigh in. But their family could have come and weighed in.
That's right. For
Christ's sake.
We have another battle live now. We're still just churning through the first round, and every single time we put these up, they say the same thing. This should be the final. This one is tough, and it is Richie McCaw versus Dan Carter.
There's going to be. Have you seen the rioting that's been going on in the UK?
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen in Christchurch.
Yeah, it's going to tear the city apart.
It's going to tear the city apart. Their two greatest sons.
Yeah,
have been pitted together in the first round. You are going to get a lot of heat for the seedings.
Why me?
Because you put it together.
Keep saying me?
Because you put it together.
I put the pictures on because you can't work Photoshop. That's all that's happened here.
But
and now you're trying to distance yourself.
Who did the
We
seedings?
voted this. How many times do I have to say this? It was a vote. Otherwise, it would have just been. I'm not even going to say it. So we are taking your votes on Richie versus Dan. I asked my missus about this. She said it's a tough one. It's divided her. She's a Crusaders fan at heart.
It's Richie.
She said she's going with Richie. And I was like,
I agree.
You didn't have a Richie McCaw scrapbook when you were a kid made from photos that you found in, the newspaper. But you did have one for Dan Carter. And so how can you... She's like, yeah, sure, Dan's hotter than Richie. But who means more? When was the last time Dan Carter put a fire out in the Port Hills in a helicopter?
Yeah,
so
true.
I think for me, also, every World Cup that DC won, Richie was there for and captain. So I think it's going to be Richie.
I think so, and I think it's unfair saying that that Dan's better looking than Richie. I mean, different strokes, different folks.
I think most strokes are going the same way.
You reckon?
Yeah.
I don't know. Dan's a bit too pretty. He's a bit too pretty for me.
Ella, Adam, Dan or Richie? Who's hotter? Dan.
I'm a Richie man.
Yeah, okay.
He's a bit more rugged. He's a bit more meat on the bone.
Yeah.
Bones.
I think the undie modelling career is probably,
that put me off.
A clue.
Yeah, that put me off. No, see, I like a humble man.
Right, yeah.
A humble man.
But we're not talking about humility. We're talking about who's more attractive.
Well, that's the thing. Humility is an attractive quality for me.
I'm trying to sway votes in the way of Dan Carter. I don't think it's going to happen. But, yeah, you can have your say in various ways. Instagram, Facebook, I don't know. Would it change if we put it on TikTok? I don't think anyone on TikTok would have even known who Susie Cato or Jason Gunn were, would they?
No.
I don't know.
No, they wouldn't. Not unless they've popped off on TikTok recently.
Because,
you never know.
Jason Gunn might have.
You never know.
Jason Gunn may have.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's absolute mayhem in these brackets. The full one's up on it's on Instagram, but it's also on the website if you want to go and have a look at the upcoming ones. If you want to start crafting a case ahead of time. I agree that there have been a lot of people that have been left out of this, and I think it's just through voter apathy. For me, Richard Pearce was really hard done by not to make this.
Yeah.
If you don't know who Richard Pearce is, first off, fuck you. Second of all, he is the first man ever to invent powered flight. And when I was explaining this again to my long-suffering partner, she said, weren't there two of them? Didn't his brother do it as well? I was like, you're thinking of the Wright brothers. Now, they did it over in the States. And they did it 2 weeks after Richard Pearce did it. But because news takes 2 weeks back in the day to get anywhere, they thought they did it first. Plus, it's a better story if they did it.
Yeah. Wow.
But
and it's a better story now. It's a better story now for people down south.
Yeah, well, Richard Pearce from Timaru, I think Geraldine. But yeah, the Richard Pearce Tavern still going down there. He's in the South Canterbury Museum, the South Canterbury Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Richard Pearce. So yeah, hard done by, because every day we benefit from powered flight, but not to be. So it rages on, the Greatest New Zealander debate. You can go on there and have your say right now. Start a heated conflict in the comments. Go at someone.
Yeah.
If you see a comment that you disagree with, click on that person's profile, find out something quite personal about them, and then tear them to shreds in the comments, I think. That's the only way we're going to settle this debate.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and remain anonymous as well. That's what you do online. No one's going to come after you.
No, I'm saying come after them specifically.
No one's going to come after you. If I go on there and come after Dan Carter, no one's really going to come after me, are they?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. DMs. Yeah. Let me explain this again. If you see a comment from @Mike Lane, click on his profile, find something deeply personal about him, go back to the comment and write that underneath the thing.
Correct. Go for it. It's anonymous.
Start wars it's not anonymous. Your name is on the thing.
No, it's not really. I find anything that's written online anonymous. Unless you say it to my face, it's anonymous. I don't care.
Oh, right. Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
not
it's
really.
just keyboard warrior.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm saying...
If you read any of the comments post handjob gate, if I took that to heart, I wouldn't be here.
But yeah, so just go at each other. Go for each other's throats in the comments. I'd love to see it. Richie versus Dan's up right now. We're going to take a quick break. There is plenty of Olympics action to go through right after this break. Overnight, Charlie's Angels were in action at the pole vault. Eliza McCartney, Olivia McTaggart, Imogen Eris all in action. Best of them, Eliza McCartney, she finished 6th. She failed at 4.8 metres. Olivia McTaggart finished 13th. She failed at 4.7, as did Imogen Eris, who finished 12th. Imogen came in ranked 32nd in the world, so she was the lowest ranked competitor in that thing.
It was. Did you see the qualifying though? It was a bit of a shambles because they were supposed to get down to 12, yet there was a bunch of people who had jumped the same height.
Yes.
And then it came down to whoever had the least amount of fails, which ended up being 19 people.
Yeah.
So instead of the standard 12 going through to the final, 19 people made the final, including the two Kiwis who thought they'd been knocked out. They were like, oh, we're gone. And then they did the count back and they're like, everybody's in. Everybody's in the final. Come on, everybody.
There's so many of those little weird quirks in the Olympics.
And so that's why the final took like 2.5, 3 hours, which normally doesn't take that long.
Yeah.
And then they got to compete in their final. But it was a bit strange when there was 19 finalists.
Yeah.
It was full on.
I have some questions about the pole vault. The first is, how do you figure out that you're any good at it? Like, what do you start with? Do you start with a broomstick and you're just jumping around the lounge?
I read something around the fact that you've got to have the speed and strength of a sprinter, the flexibility of a gymnast.
Yeah, but no one has all of that when they start.
And the strength of something else. But I suppose you're looking for an all-round athlete. If you're in the athletics club, which probably these young women were, they're powerful and fast and quite kind of athletic and gymnastic-like. Have you thought about giving pole vault a go? That's as far as it goes, I reckon.
No, but what does the first attempt look like? Because you don't go from not being able to do it to being able to do it in the first go.
I'm sure there's baby steps.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's like broomsticks you do it on and shit.
Okay, yeah. So.
Yeah, I'm sure it's that way. But I don't. It's one of those things that it's not available to you at school, really.
God, no.
So
I've never even seen a pole vault. Like, what does the hole that they put the pole into look like? I've never even seen them.
I can imagine when you're first starting, it is not. The pole doesn't bend that much. It's almost like you just stick it in and just fly over the stick.
Broomstick.
Yeah.
Jumping over a fence.
Yeah. I don't think it takes a while for the length. Once it gets high enough, you get the boing.
Yeah.
You get the doing. You can fly over the thingy. What's it?
Supplementary question. Do you take your own stick?
Yes.
You think you do? Yeah.
Yeah, 100% you take your own stick, I think.
How do you get around the country with your bloody stick? Checking that in oversized.
Oh my God, imagine the oversize. That would suck. Well, I think you'd probably hit the road, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well,
no, international.
Would it even fit in a bus? And then tertiary question, Your Honour. Do you need different sticks as the height gets higher?
No, they're all the same size.
Are they?
Yeah, at a certain level, they're the same size.
So
I think you can. No, you can actually choose. They were talking about this on the commentary because they had the same questions as you did. Yeah. Not about how to start, but what are the poles made of? They're like carbon fibre, so they can bend enough but not snap.
Yeah.
And there's another type you can use, and you can use any size you want, apparently.
Oh, really? But I guess at a certain length, it becomes too hard to get up.
Yeah, you bend over and you're left standing on the track with a bendy pole.
Yeah.
Torsioned up, ready to spring.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so there's a natural limit to it's like a golf tee. At a certain height, it's actually not helping you anymore. Well, I did wonder that. I was just like, as they go higher, do they like, right, I got to pull out the old 5 metre stick?
The big dog.
Pull out the old 6. But then I wonder if there is a chance that someone could come in, an athlete that just happened to be, say, 7 odd feet tall, and she was just like, I can actually man a taller stick.
I think size also, you don't want to be too big.
No, they'd be...
Because then you need a bigger stick and
point
a wider
diminishing
stick.
Returns.
Yeah.
Adam?
I do have some facts here. Pole lengths vary between 3 metres 05 and can go all the way up to 5 metres 30.
Which is high, yeah.
It's higher than they were jumping.
Yeah. But this is across men and women because the dudes were jumping 5.5 kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a point of diminishing returns because I thought, most sports, they end up the same body type, but Eliza McCartney's quite taller, a lot taller than the other two.
Yeah.
Huge fan of Olivia McTaggart with the Dwight Howard sleeves on.
Yeah, I like enjoying the sleeves.
From Prime 2010, Dwight Howard. I thought that was great. I've been saying this whole Olympics, we've got the best kit. And that looks sick. I think she was the only one who had those sleeves on. They look mean, going up there, slinging yourself over that thing. So, I guess at a certain point, it becomes about how hard you can fling yourself into the air on that thing.
Are the sleeves a warmth thing?
Look, I don't know. They're a big thing in basketball, and no one's ever been able to explain to me. I've had some dudes be like, "Oh, well, it's the lactic acid that's building up in your arm."
And what are the sleeves do?
Compression to, I guess, push it back out of your arms.
Okay.
I don't know. All I know is she looks sick in those things. They look badass when she was running in there with those and just flinging herself over. What was the tar all over their hands as
Oh,
well?
yeah. So you're allowed to spray your hands with some sticky shit. You're not allowed to wear gloves. So, and it just helps you grip the pole, I guess. So they've got that sticky ass shit all over their hands.
It just looks like tar.
Yeah, pretty much is.
They just dip their hands in tar. But yeah, I thought they gave a great account of the nation there in that pole vault final. Liza McCartney finished 6th, 13th, 12th. The goat in the boat won her heat as well. Basically, same with, like I was saying about Emma Twigg, you can't let Lisa Carrington off the bus or you've lost your race. Like, you can't let her out the parking lot because as soon as she's in that boat, it's over. She, from the first paddle stroke, I guess, is in front, and she never gets overtaken from there.
How come on the K2 and the K4 kayak they have the skirts? You know, the skirts that go over, but a lot of the K1s they don't have anything.
Yeah,
they don't have no skirt. But Lisa had a skirt for her K1.
Yes, some of them didn't.
Yeah,
and they had the knees going.
Is that maybe it's a wash thing? Maybe on the 4s there's just so much fucking wash spraying everywhere that you'd eventually fill the boat.
That'd be it.
Yeah.
Because if you got the goat in the boat in front of you.
Yeah, and she's absolutely
she'll sink
carving it.
Yeah. She'll sink
it. Yeah, you're in the back, you got like 10 litres of water.
Yeah. You can tune in again tomorrow to two guys try and figure out the Olympics as well. She'll be back in the boat, I think.
Just waiting through
tonight
the
or
weeds.
tomorrow. Yeah. How the fuck does the javelin work? Well, Tori Peters, and I've been saying this for the last 2 weeks, I don't think I've cried this much since I was a toddler, I reckon, since I was a baby. Tori Peters was out there throwing her javelin around in the field. She didn't quite make the qualifying mark, which was like 60 odd meters. And then after that, you go to your distance. She was like talking about how, she come from Gore and she never thought she'd make it to the Olympics, and she did it for the little girl growing up in Gore. And I'm sitting on the couch. I'm so proud of you, Tori. I felt that way this whole Olympics. I was crying watching Emma Twigg row, not even like her talking about the journey. Just as she's doing it, it was when I watched those two women quit. I was just like, I'm so fucking proud to be a New Zealander. So yeah, she gave a great account of herself as well. She didn't quite qualify. It was such a heartbreaking interview too, because they interviewed her as soon as she'd thrown it, and she knew she wasn't going to make the final, but it hadn't been confirmed. She was like, I don't think that's good enough to make the final. And then she started crying. You'll make the final, Tori. She didn't. Hamish Kerr is through to Sunday's final, though. Did you watch him last night?
Yes, it was terrifying.
It was terrifying.
It was terrifying. It was a height which he's basically walked over all season, and he failed twice, and he almost didn't make it through.
After he failed the second time, he then started pacing out his run-up. So he'd obviously got his length wrong, and I was like, oh, he's done. He's done. There's no way. You don't go from missing twice to then checking. That's what you start doing when you think you're about to lose.
I really hope he wins, because the two other favourites, the Italian Dick and the Qatari Dick, just think they are the nuts. They're the guys who shared the gold medal in Tokyo. And they walk around like massive cocks. And I want Hamish Kerr to walk in with a bigger one, slap it over that high jump and win the gold, because it'll make me feel... He looks like a much better winner than those two. If one of those two win, I can't better stand it.
No, I know there are some real punishers in all of these events, and most often it's the Americans. But in the high jump yesterday, it was the Jamaican dude. He had a headband, he had glasses, he had 3 gold chains, he had 3 different wrist adornments. One of them a watch. His shoes were, of course, fluorescent green and orange. And then he had some dangly shit around his legs as well. I was just like, fuck, I hope you lose because of that thing around your ankles.
Did he?
Nah. He didn't.
He's in the final?
He made it, yeah. I think he might be in the final, yeah. But it was funny when old Hamish Kerr, when he got over, he cleared it.
By miles. And he could see the relief. He was like, ugh.
One of them he whacked off with the back of his shoulders. He just cooked it.
Yeah, the commentator was absolutely giving it to him as well.
Cursed him on that first one.
Oh, no. And I was like, oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God.
Yeah. I thought he was going to do it as well. But in medal news last night, a silver for New Zealand. It was Team Pursuit, was it?
Yep.
The 4 of them. Ali Wollaston, Bryony Botha, Emily Sherman, and Nicole Shields.
This is a great story. I've done some research on this.
Yeah.
Around this this quad, this team.
Yeah.
And how they got here. Okay, so So this is a good story, by the way. They first met when they all flattered together at Waikato University in Hamilton. So it's Ali Wollaston, Bryony Both, as you said, Emily Sherman and Nicole Shields. They had a 4-bedroom flat in the suburb of Hillcrest, which is quite close to the university there in Hamilton.
No, it makes sense.
And to save money on taxis into town, into Hood Street, etc., where all the bars are, they purchased 2 tandem bikes. And the idea being, on a night out, 2 of them would be sober riders and would ride the other, and the other 2 would get on the drink, and then they'd tandem home again. So after 8 months of living together out in Hillcrest, they started to record the times of them going from their flat into Hood Street.
Like a race.
And their flat was on Knighton Road in Hillcrest, and they'd go into Hood Street, home of the Outback, and the bank, etc.
I'm familiar with it.
A 2.8 kilometre trip. So it's not long. So initially the ride would take them 15 to 20 minutes.
Are you crossing the river?
Yeah, you're crossing the river. You're crossing the Anzac Bridge. So they'd go down Knighton Road. They'd go right onto Clyde Street before a quick left, right, and over Anzac Bridge. Then a right up Victoria and a quick left into Hood. If you know Hamilton, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So with 2 tandem bikes, the bike rides became more and more competitive between the two flatmates.
It would.
So it was Ali and Emily on one bike, and Nicole and Bryony on the other. So that's how it worked. And get this. So the fastest recorded time they clocked after 12 months, remember it started to 15 to 20 minutes. After 12 months of doing this, they got it down to 6 minutes.
Over how long did you say? 2.8K?
2.8Ks. They
Several corners in a bridge.
They did say it was very traffic dependent with various lights and roundabouts. And Ali Wilston stated the best time was recorded at 3 a.m. As there was simply no traffic. However, visibility and the impairment of your partner were challenging, was the quote. So after 2 years of this, the flatmates decided they actually had potential when it came to cycling, and they dropped the late night tandem escapades and got into road cycling and then into the velodrome, and they still live together in Cambridge, which is the home of the High Performance New Zealand cycling program with the velodrome out there. So what a great story.
Yeah, grassroots.
Hope it's true.
Also, God, how good would it be to be the one who was just allowed to get blacked out?
Yeah, well, they said they took turns.
Yeah,
they took turns. So it wasn't always the same sober driver.
Yeah, it's your turn to be at the front of the tandem tonight.
Yeah, and you're at the back just going brrr.
Yeah. God, how car
That's why I'm surprised the fastest one was 3 a.m. because surely the people on the back one were like, brrr.
I don't know. Like when you're wasted, you can walk really far.
That's true.
You know, without being too worried about it.
How does that work with cycling? I know that you can actually be done drunk cycling. Drunk in charge of a cycle. I think you can. But what if you're a tandem? What if you're on the back? I mean, always be sober and riding bikes. But if you're steering at the front.
I think because it's initially I was like, well, yeah, it's just like sitting passenger in a car. But it's different because from passenger it'd be very tough to crash a car. But if you're on the back of a tandem bike, you could definitely crash that bike if you're wasted.
Yeah, it's true.
I remember growing up, people would always say, you should ride your horse home from the pub because it's got a mind of its own, so you can't be done DIC.
What?
Because they would have to breathalyze the horse as well to see if it was drunk or not. I don't know. I think that's bullshit. I do know that of a person who may or may not be related to me who lived in Australia, and in the town they were in, they were building a railway that went behind the pub, local pub, and they scrapped the railway halfway through it, so they were left with this big, long, flat bit of land. He lived on a big station just out of Billawheeler there, allegedly, reportedly, and would fly to the pub and land on the flat bit out the back, sink piss all day, fly his plane back home, because how the hell's a cop going to pull you over in the sky?
That's true.
Yeah. Now, I don't know whether that's true or not.
Well, why wouldn't you have Outback? There's different rules, isn't there? I'm sure there's helicopters been flying around the Outback willy-nilly.
Yeah.
Wasted.
Yeah. So allegedly that person was my uncle, but I don't know whether that's true or not, but that's just one of those
Did you ever fly with him?
Goes around the family. I didn't, but I did go and see his hangar.
Good call.
The planes exist.
I'd stay away. I'd walk.
So that's really interesting about our 4 girls there.
Yeah.
Looking further afield.
I don't know where I got that from, by the way. I just searched backstory, and that's what came up.
Investigative.
So you do your own research.
Journalism. Australian hockey player Tom Craig has apologised after being arrested for trying to buy cocaine in Paris. just days after the team's Olympic campaign came to an end. He escaped with a warning from police and then released an official apology. I'd firstly like to apologise for what's occurred in the last 24 hours. I made a terrible mistake. I take full responsibility for my actions. My actions are my own and in no way reflect the values of my family, my teammates, my friends, my sport, the Australian Olympic team. I've embarrassed you all. I'm truly sorry. All-time apology. He nailed it.
He's taken it on the chin.
Yeah.
Jesus. What is it with Paris and getting busted with cocaine? Obviously, Ali Williams had the same situation. They obviously set stings up, the police there.
Oh, that might be it, yeah.
And just go and be ready to go. But, yeah.
We were there for a week, never got offered it once.
Nah.
we were
hanging around like bad smells. Surely we were sitting ducks.
We were very clear marks if you were going to try and sting us. And what I loved about this was one of the Australian news outlets posted the story, and it was on Facebook. And I clicked on the comments. Sure enough, first comment from a woman whose genuinely first name Karen. He shouldn't have done it in the first place. That way he wouldn't have felt embarrassed or had to apologise.
Thanks, Karen.
Thank you for that one, Karen.
Thanks, Karen.
I don't think he's disgraced his country at all.
Nah, look, I'd say that he has just been hung out to dry. There is a lot of athletes.
Oh, and also
who'll be on the nose beers.
Who around the world has had their opinion of Australia changed by this story?
That's true.
Absolutely
I'm not travelling
no
to
one.
Australia anymore.
Yeah. Have you heard what their Olympic athletes did when they went to Paris in the prime of their lives? The 5 kilometre races were going on last night as well, overnight, and 2 of the heats had some of the wildest interactions that I've seen at the Olympics so far. So in the first heat, a cameraman who was filming something else walked into the middle of the track. So he was standing there. You know, there's 10 lanes. He would have been in about lane 5, but in the 5K, they're all running together on the inside of the track. He's filming that way. Then he gets a shot, whatever, turns, just starts walks straight into the middle of the pack of all of these dudes. No one fell over, but everyone had to sidestep each other. A couple of guys had to almost stop. So he could have potentially robbed people of qualifying times by doing that, which is some dumb shit. This is how dudes get hit by javelins. Then in the second one, the second heat of the 5K, there was a 4-man pile-up.
I saw that. I saw the pile-up.
Yeah. So someone got their legs clipped. They went down. 3 of them were in one thing, and then another guy who wasn't watching. He couldn't avoid it. And then 4-man pile-up. So the 5K, who would have thought that was the most disastrous thing. And then finally, Cuban super heavyweight Greco-Roman wrestler Mijan Lopez is the first athlete ever to claim 5 successive Olympic gold medals in an individual event. Super heavyweight, he is 130 kilograms.
Have you seen him?
Yeah.
He could come again in the next Olympics and I think win. He looks like the most dangerous individual I've ever seen.
He looks exactly how you would think the super heavyweight Greco-Roman wrestling.
Yeah.
His head comes straight off the top of his shoulders, no neck.
No, ears are all mushed.
His ears are mutilated. He speaks with a quite clear lisp, despite the fact I can't understand his language. He has a very clear lisp, and he is just like the thickest limbs that you've ever seen in your life. 41 years old, and all he's done his entire life is wrestled. They showed his home in, I think, is he Cuban? And it was a pretty modest home with just 4 gold medals just on the wall of his mum's house. Yeah, you're right. He could probably do it again. But I just thought it was interesting that sport, Greco-Roman wrestling, has been around for 2,500 years. There has probably never existed a man that could beat him at it.
Yeah, I'd say so. He looks terrifying.
Yeah.
Also this morning, the under 49 kg women's weightlifting.
Oh, they got into action. Or have they finished?
They may well have finished by now. And look,
hold on a second.
I may have bitten off more than I can chew because these women were like little pocket battleships when they came out. I was like, this can't be the under 49. And then the commentator goes, this is the under 49. And I'm like, oh, shit. Oh, shit. They were snatching 80, 88, 90 kgs.
Yeah.
And I didn't quite check out the clean and jerk that was next. That was coming up next. It might be tomorrow.
Okay.
But it was definitely the snatch this morning. And there's some units, man. They came out and they were so ripped. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so the thing came from, could you beat an Olympic athlete at anything?
Yeah.
And so we immediately went to who's the smallest athlete and what do they do? And it was women's weightlifting at 49 kilograms. And so then we looked at the Olympic record, which is 94 and 116 for the snatch and the clean and jerk. But obviously, you don't have to beat the world record.
No, I just want to beat the last place.
The last place, who apparently at Tokyo it was 69 kilos for the
snatch.
For the snatch. And I'm looking at the weights so far. They have settled, but I can't find exactly what it is. They've only got the combined weights, which the lightest one is Lagatao from Guam. She lifted 136 kilograms total.
Okay.
Total. So half that, you're looking at about 60-something. But
you usually lift more in the clean and jerk, though, don't you?
You do. So the snatch would probably be, I mean, you're still around the 60 kilo mark, maybe 50-something.
Okay. Look, I'm not confident having seen these athletes and seeing their routine where their coach slaps their face about and they go on stage and,
I'll do that for you.
I'm sure you would.
I'll chalk up my hands and slap the shit out of you.
I'm sure you would.
If it helps, I'll be willing to do it. All right, so we will take this offline. We'll find out exactly what that number is, and then we're going to take this across the road to the gym.
Shit.
If anyone out there owns, runs, works at a gym that we could do this at, because
I don't want to do it at the pretty gym you go to.
No. Oh, every time I walk in there, I'm so acutely aware of how ugly I am. I'm the ugliest person in that room every time I walk in there.
I tell you what, go to the sauna and you'll be loved.
Oh, here we go. I've got them. The snatch was 59 kilos. The clean and jerk was 77.
Okay.
I don't
77.
I don't think like this isn't a strength thing. Like the snatch is quite a unique movement.
Oh no, I'm not snatching shit.
Do you think that you could clean and jerk what she snatched? So 59
to
your shoulder and then above your head. I reckon that's the challenge there.
Okay. Yep.
All right. We'll try it. We'll go and find ourselves a gym. We'll film this.
Oh look,
tomorrow.
I did some squats this morning with my 20 kg dumbbells, so I'm pretty good.
Yeah, 2 of them. So that's 40. So you only need another 19 kilos and then put it above your head.
Yeah, that's above the head's going to be an issue. I can see a dislocated elbow.
I hope I can see.
Remember when Laurel Hubbard did that in the Com Games? Yeah, that's going to be me.
Yep. All right, keep an eye out for that video. I reckon we'll go and film that one tomorrow. Let's take one more quick break and we'll come back with yours, please.
Yours, please. Brought to you by Leader, home of the lasagna topper.
Somewhere in the neighbourhood of 5 of them to get through today. First caller, yours, please.
All right, lads. So forget trying to beat Paralympics or 49 kg weightlifters. If you remember in the 2000 Sydney Olympics, Eric the Eel Musumbani swam by himself, reaching, or hardly swam, 1 minute 52 for the 100 metres. So give that a crack. Surely you can get under that.
So, shit, I don't know. I don't know if I can.
I don't either.
That was just, that's 2 lengths, eh? I could do 2 lengths. I could probably finish it better than he did because he almost looked like he was going to drown.
He did look like he was going to drown, yeah.
But we're talking about this games. We can't talk about past games.
Oh, we'd love to bring up the past, but, we've got to stick with, 2 minutes. I don't know. I don't think I could. 50 metres is a long pull.
Yeah, but I reckon if you just went slow and steady, that was better than him.
Yeah, true. He didn't, yeah.
You could almost breaststroke it faster or doggy paddle.
Doggy paddle it, yeah.
He almost was doggy paddling at the end.
Yeah. He had no idea. I think we talked about it yesterday on the podcast. Like, didn't recognise the gun when it went off. Yeah, maybe I could. I can't remember the last time I swam in anger.
Do you want to give it a go? You do that, I'll do the weightlifting.
I feel like it's kind of mean because it's like 24 years ago that he did that and now we're dredging it back up again. If I beat him, it'd be like, all right, mate. This one at least was
just DM and send it to him?
Yeah. Hey, bro, I smashed your record from 24 years ago. I don't know. Yeah, I'll give it a try. Another caller here. Yours, please.
Hey, fellas, just wondering if you could explain to me why it's Great Britain at the Olympics and not England. Like, do they just get to pick and choose when they want to be Great Britain and when they want to be England, Wales, Ireland, that kind of stuff? Yeah, sounds a bit fucked. Fuck Auckland.
Yeah, well, I mean, as a country, England, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland are one country.
Yeah.
The same laws, same taxes, same currency. They are one country. It's Great Britain.
But they divvy themselves out by sport.
Yeah, for sports and for Commonwealth Games and stuff, it's Scotland.
Commonwealth makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, when it comes to rugby and stuff, they split themselves out. But they have the Lions. But that includes Ireland as well, which makes it even weirder. But, yeah, they are just one country.
Yeah, right. So
Great Britain. So, yeah.
When I first went over there, I thought I'd have to have my passport ready when I went into Wales.
Oh, I've done that gig. We used to take trips over to Millennium Stadium in Cardiff all the time, and there's that bridge you go over.
Yeah.
And I'd get on the microphone and go, right, everyone, we're just about to meet the border of Wales. You want to get your passports ready? And you can see the whole bus go.
You didn't tell me to bring my passport?
Yeah, and they all start panicking. Just kidding. It's the same gag every time.
Yeah, I genuinely thought that. But I will say, a conspiracy theory of mine, we should become a state of Australia and thereby getting a cut of all of the mining money to come over here.
And that'd be great. They would come into the South Island and mine the shit out of the West Coast.
Yep, Southland.
Yeah, they'll come and frack the shit out of our South Island and probably then run away with all the money.
Yeah, but then for sporting purposes, we do like Scotland and Wales, and we remain independent for that purpose.
Just purely commercially. For economics.
Yes, we'll take your money.
Yeah, and their interest rates are only like 4.5%. See, that's what I'm talking about.
Ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
But we were saying this the other day, we're now done for the per capita medals because of Dominica and
St. Lucia.
And St. Lucia, who, for all other sports that you follow, probably compete as the West Indies. And by all other sports, I mean one sport, cricket.
Yeah.
But
there's no other.
sport.
There's no other sport they compete as the West Indies.
But yeah, like we would be ahead of the West Indies per capita, but they've decided that they're going to compete under their own flag. Why do they play as the West Indies? Because Guyana couldn't put together its own team, right?
Well, yeah, I don't think individually as Jamaica and Barbados and St. Lucia and Antigua, like. I don't think they'd have it. It was not strong enough.
You don't think Turks and Caicos could field a team?
Yeah, so Trinidad and Tobago kind of thing. I don't. Yeah, that's why. I mean, trust me, it's not harmonious. There is all sorts of political issues within West Indies.
Yeah,
between the Jamaicans and Barbados, there's always a bit of niggle. So it's not all. It's not all happy, like sunshine and roses.
No, but I do think for our own per capita interests, we should definitely roll them back together, and then that would bump us up.
And everyone has a British passport.
Leaderboard.
Everyone has a British passport in those countries.
Oh,
Wales,
really?
Wales, Scotland, everyone. So it's one country.
I thought you meant in the fucking Caribbean.
No. I'm just talking about going back to the question. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, brilliant. All right, another caller here. Yours, please.
Kia ora. With the whole world competing at the Olympics at the moment, I got bloody Kazakhstan, Liechtenstein, hell, even North Korea's there. Does that sort of mean that the Vatican can qualify as well? Because they are a country. If so, what sport do you think the Pope would do pretty well in? Anyway, have a bloody good one. Fuck the Chathams.
Buckle yourself in for this. I've done some research here.
Fuck off.
The Vatican has never competed in the Olympics before. They don't even have like an Olympic committee at the Vatican. They did send a cyclist to the world champs in like 2022 or 2023.
But you got to know, have you been to the Vatican?
No.
It's basically
a church.
It's a church surrounded by a bunch of Swiss guards dressed like clowns. It's tiny. It's like 1 square kilometre or something.
Yeah, and it's not.
So I don't think it's producing many.
Well, where would you exercise for starters?
I don't think it's producing many people, let alone. It's just there to protect the Pope.
Yeah, no, 100%. But back in the day when it was part of the Holy Roman Empire, they did build a chariot track on what is now the Vatican City. And they did chariot track racing there, known as the Circus of Nero. And a few of the popes did partake in the chariot racing. So I think we said yesterday we should bring chariot racing back to the Olympics. And I think if we did that, then we could probably coax one of the popes into the chariots there. You'd be a brave man to take out the Pope on his chariot. So I reckon chariot racing if they had to do anything. He's not going to get on the pole vault, is he, the
No,
Pope?
I don't think so. He's more a standing up kind of moving guy like he's in the Pope mobile.
Yeah, 100%. Maybe if we brought motor games into the Olympics. I think we've got a couple more here. Yours, please.
G'day, boys. It's Chris Peacock here. In regards to the canoe guys at the Olympics, I seen a really scathing headline from Radio New Zealand, and it made me think, is actual sports journalism more ruthless than adjacent sports journalism, which is a bit more fun, loving and caring? Anyway, hooroo.
Yeah, I saw them cop a bit of shit yesterday.
Oh.
From like non-sporting people. And it was getting a little bit out of control because it was...
They went to Ian Ferguson.
Yeah.
And asked him, and he said it's put a dent in the silver fern. Fuck off.
I know. And then there was... But then they rang a few of the New Zealand kayak people, and they're like, look, this has been done by other nations for the previous Olympics. There's guys who've done the opposite, who have not qualified for the canoe, but have been good. There's a guy from Canada.
Right.
And they went the back door and did the kayaking, and he got a place in the canoe and won bronze.
Yeah.
And so everyone's been doing it. It's like, it's a means to an end. And they're in the semi-final in the K4 boat. Good on them.
Also, what's more Kiwi than just showing up and having a crack?
And also, do you not think that they felt slightly stink coming over the line a minute later than everyone else? Like, the pile-on from non-sporting people yesterday was just it was out of control.
Which proves your point. Yes, the mainstream sports media are way harsher on our athletes than we, the alternate sports media, are.
Well, and also, there is no sports journalist hardly left anyway.
No, there's not. They are a dying breed. But even when I worked in the mainstream sports media, we put an interview out as a podcast, and if I put a positive title on that podcast, it would get X amount of downloads. If I put a negative one, it would get like 3-4 times as many downloads.
Yeah,
people the same piece of audio.
So people love a negative.
So when people say, man, the sports media is so negative in here, it's like, that's what you want to listen to. There's a certain portion of the population who just want to listen to that kind of thing. So.
I think those boys should be the flag bearers on the closing.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. What they did for the country was going over and above.
Totally, because they would have hated that.
Yeah.
They're athletes. They're competitive. They were like, fuck.
Yeah.
And even the guy from, I think, Kayak in New Zealand goes, he was on an interview and he goes, have you tried that? He goes, I've tried it a couple of times. I fell out of the boat twice. I couldn't even get it going straight.
Yeah.
So that's how hard it is.
You could see them when they were coming over. They both had their oars on the same side because they're just trying so hard not to go out of the...
It's like when someone else is on a paddleboard with you or a double...
double...
Whoa, hey.
Yeah, they are the worst. Man, you want to test your relationship? Jump in a two-man paddle bloody kayak thing and head out chasing out after a turtle you saw out the window at your fucking hotel room somewhere.
Speaking from experience.
Yeah, because she'll paddle out there to find the turtle, but once she figures out it's not there, you're paddling back. I think we've got one more here. Yours, please.
Every day when I'm hard work mahi dogging it around the city, always have a big icy bottle of water. Some days, can't drink it quick enough, can't mount quick enough. Some days, mounts too quick, gets hot, doesn't get drunk. Either way, icy water out of a bottle goes fucking good.
Yeah.
There we go. I mean, that's referencing back to our water drinking segment.
Loosely dubbed.
It was how you drink water, I think, was the question. And then, is water any good?
Yeah, if you got a physical job, I think, definitely. The ice water, it's elite.
Did you used to have the water bottle, like an empty Coke bottle filled with water, put it in the freezer, take that to work?
Yep. I'd do that. I did that when I first started working over in Australia. I was working out in Kalgoorlie, and I was like, I'll freeze the water so when it's 40 degrees out there. And I was like, by the time the sun had been up for 3 minutes, it was boiled water anyway. All
you had was all the condensation on the outside.
Yeah. I was like, what was the point of that? But yeah, no, I completely agree with that. Ice water, brilliant. All right, we're going to knock this thing on the head. We'll be back tomorrow. We're going to double banger. ACC Sportsbook will be out tomorrow, as well as another episode of the Agenda podcast. We'll see you then.
You've been listening to the ACC's Agenda podcast, brought to you by Export Ultra. For more episodes, like and follow on iHeartradio or wherever you get your podcasts.